In the last video, we discussed Jainism. In the Jainism, principles of Jainism, Vardhamana Mahavira, all these are completed. Now we are going to start spread of Jainism. How Jainism spread in India. Originally, Jainism spreaded after the Vardhamana Mahavira, he was a great hero. After Vardhamana Mahavira started the spread of Jainism in India. Before that, they were called as Nigranthas. That already we discussed in that last video. Nigranthas. Mahavira, he organized an order of his followers. For his followers, Vardhamana Mahavira, he organized an order, that is organization, missionary. They started a missionary, Jain missionary. Jain church was started. He allowed to admit both men and women. But Vardhamana Mahavira, he followed Digambara Jainism. Latter period, Digambaras, they did not allow women, because women cannot follow they cannot follow the Digambara Jainism. They cannot follow nude. That's why they did not allow initially women. So like this started the spread of the movement, and Sangha, it became very popular. His followers, originally Vardhamana Mahavira followers were reached to the 14,000. Even though it was less number, they were the 14 followers. Sangha divided into 4 categories. There were 4 category people. The first category people were Upadhyaya. He was a teacher. Upadhyaya is guru of the all monks. Second, Acharya, teacher. Acharya, teacher of this Upadhyayas. Third, Arhant, who was eligible for the salvation. And fourth one is Tirthankara, already got salvation. These 4 types of the people are started to popularize the Jainism. But Jainism, according to the Jain text, the spread of Jainism started only after the Vardhamana Mahavira. After the death of the Vardhamana Mahavira, main Jainism spread to the South India after the first Jain Parishad. South India, coming to the point of the South India, spread of Jainism in South India, it happened only after the first Jain Parishad. We already discussed that first Jain Parishad held in 300 BC, around 300 BC, conducted by Chandragupta Maurya. The cause for the first Jain Parishad, the establishment of the first Jain Parishad, was 12 years famine occurred in the 12 years famine. It was happened in the Magadha kingdom, that was in the Mauryan Empire. There occurred 12 years famine. Because of this, Sthulabahu, who was guru of Jainism, Sthulabahu, he advised to establish Jain Parishad. On the advice of the Sthulabahu, Jain Parishad was conducted by the Chandragupta Maurya. After the end of Jain Parishad, Sthulabahu and Bhadrabahu, there occurred ideological differences between these two. Bhadrabahu, he went to the South India. Along with this Bhadrabahu, Chandragupta Maurya also went to South India. Because of this Bhadrabahu, Jainism spread in South India. Jainism that spread in South India, especially in the Karnataka. They settled at Shravanabelgola, Karnataka area. So because of this, Jainism spread in Karnataka, that is spread in the South India. Jainism, after this Jainism also spread to the Kalinga kingdom. Kalinga Chedi dynasty, that is also called as Mahameghavahana dynasty, followed the Jainism, especially Kalinga Karavela, he was a follower of Jainism. According to some inscriptions or according to some information, Kalinga Karavela, he conducted a third Jain Parishad at Kalinga, that is in Orissa. So spread of Jainism in Orissa because of the Karavela. After this, during the time of the Samprati period, that is son of the Ashoka, Samprati, and sometimes he was also called as grandson of the Ashoka, Samprati. He established Bazadi. He established a Bazadi, Nedum Bazadi. So by this, he also fought for the spread of the Jainism, Samprati. After this, Kondapur also became important center of Jainism during the time of the Satavahanas, because early Satavahanas, they followed Jainism. During the time of the Satavahana period, Kondapur, Bankpur, Munulagutta also, Bankapur, Munulagutta, this was also important Jain center during the time of the Satavahanas period. Early Satavahanas, they followed the Jainism. Next, along with this, early Kakatiyas, early Kakatiyas, they were also followed Jainism. Latter period, they followed the Hindu religion, that is Saivism. Along with this, Rashtrakutas, they were also followed the Jainism, especially Rashtrakuta king Amogavarsha III. Rashtrakuta king Amogavarsha III, he followed Jainism. Several times he renounced even his royal life, and he wanted to become Jain saint, but in the end of this period, Amogavarsha, end of the period of the Amogavarsha, he ruled from 813 to 880. This period, in the end of his life, Amogavarsha, he followed Jainism and he became ascetic in the end of his life. During his period, he patronized even Jain poets like Hemachandra wrote Parisista Parvan. It's like this, Jainism spread in India to the several areas. Rajasthan, Jainism also spread to the Rajasthan. Mount Abu was center of the Jainism in the Rajasthan. So like this, Jainism spread in different parts of India in different times. But Jainism did not spread like Buddhism. Buddhism spread more than the Jainism because of the policies of the Buddhism. Even though it spread, but Jainism started to decline in India. What are the causes for the decline of Jainism in India? Coming to this point, decline. Jainism received much support in the beginning. Jains mainly followed non-interference policy. They followed non-interference policy, but gradually they started to begin to decrease. There are so many causes, internal causes and external causes. Coming to the point of internal causes for the decline of Jainism, clash among the ideological differences occurred among the Jain monks. like Jainism divided into Shvetambaras, Digambaras, like this. There occurred ideological differences. This is one point. Internal clashes. And in the internal classes, Jainism was not properly followed. Jain monks, they did not follow properly the Jainism. That was another cause. As long as Jainism enjoyed loyal patronage, it was very smooth going. But coming to the point of the external causes, loss of royal patronage. This is one cause. Initially, royal patronage was very good. It was not a missionary religion. Jainism was not missionary religion, like started to sanghas and it preached to join into the Jainism. They did not wanted to propagate, but they started preachings. There was no forcible conversions into the Jainism. Vardhamana Mahavira, he was also silenced, become Vardhamana Mahavira. Coming to the point of the Vardhamana Mahavira, he was very silent in the spread of Jainism. He did not follow the spread of Jainism. And even though some useful workers gave service to the propagation of the Jainism, but the principles of Jainism was very strict to follow. Coming to the point of these principles of Jainism, principles were very strict to follow. That is severe non-violence, extreme non-violence. Following of extreme non-violence was not good, and people, they did not follow the extreme non-violence. One cannot continue because of this, because they should not give harm to even small insects or small creatures. Laymen did not follow this. Lay community to follow the Jainism, it was very difficulty. Moreover, split and division of Jainism also one of the cause for the Jainism. Along with this, it's like this, Jainism started to decline. After the decline of the Jainism, next part is contribution of Jainism. How Jainism contributed in different areas. Contribution of Jainism. Jainism contributed in different areas. Like for example, social contribution. The main aim of the Jainism targeted two people, women and Sudras. Women and Sudras, they are put aside from the society. They were not allowed for the moksha, and Jainism, it said that women and Sudras were also eligible for the moksha. They can also eligible for different things like attainment of the knowledge. They can also attain knowledge. They can also attain the knowledge. So like this, started the empowerment of women and empowerment of the Sudras. Next, coming to the point of Indian social system. Indian social system or a religious system, Indian social system, it is based on the Chaturvarna system. 4 Varnas: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. Brahmanical supremacy was continuing in India. Social and political religious influence, religious areas, Brahmins were influenced more and more. So Indian social system, it was deep-rooted casteism like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. Brahmanical domination was started. Brahmanical domination was opposed by the Jainism. And Jainism also opposed to sacrificial ceremonies. Sacrificial ceremonies, cutting of animals, opposed the cutting of animals, and also preached non-violence. They wanted to restore non-violence in the society. So these are the things brought in the society social changes. Jainism feed religion from the beginning. It was a free religion from the beginning. It contributed more and more for the non-violence. This is social system. Coming to the point of the political system, political contribution, most of the kings, those who followed Jainism, they followed non-violence. Non-violence also most important part and parcel of the kings of that period, the kings those who were followed Jainism, like Karavela, Kalinga Karavela, Chandragupta Maurya. He renounced his royal life and he went to the forest. Amogavarsha, finally he joined into the Jainism. Like that, political changes were also brought by the contribution of the Jainism. It will also, we can discuss political changes. Along with these political changes, the most part of the contribution was done in the field of literary development, literary development. Before existence of Jainism and Buddhism, Sanskrit was language in India. Sanskrit was Brahmin language in India. Sudras and women were not allowed to learn Sanskrit. Sanskrit strictly related to only Brahmins. Other people are not followed Sanskrit. Sanskrit made as a divine language. Sanskrit and Pali. All the religious texts like Vedas, after the Vedas, later Vedic period, Vedangas, other Vedic literature, other Vedic texts, they were written in either Sanskrit or Pali literature. And preachings of the Brahmins, chanting of Brahmins was also in the Sanskrit. Because of that, Jains, they selected common people language. Whatever common people are speaking, that language was started by the Jains, like Prakrut, Ardhamagadi, Saurasena. Like this, different languages were started by the selected by the Jains to preach. For example, Vardhamana Mahavira, he preached in Ardhamagadi. Later period, whenever he went to the Saurasena area, he preached in the Saurasena. He himself learnt Saurasena and preached that. That means they followed the mass people language. This mass people language is also called as vernacular languages. They are the vernacular languages. So for the development of the vernacular languages, Jainism contributed more and more. Like Prakrut and other Ardhamagadi, Sauraseni. These regional languages, they reached the level of the literary languages. They also developed their literature. And these Jains also used mixed dialect. Sometimes they also mixed dialect, following of the mixed dialect. Like this, they composed books in the Prakrut language. They composed books in the Prakrit and Ardhamagadi, used the Pali literature and composed in the Ardhamagadi. That is 12 books. What they are called as 12 Angas. 12 Angas of Jainism. These were the popular Jain texts and Jain Bibles. They were also called as Jain Bibles. They were composed in the Ardhamagadi language. These were composed in Ardhamagadi language. Ardhamagadi language. These 12 books are 12 Angas. Magadhi or Savaraseni, these were the people's language. They composed in that people's language. Along with this, coming to the point of the other books which were which were written in the Jainism, other books coming to that point, 14 Purvas, the earliest text. 14 Purvas are the earliest text of Buddhism. Earliest text of Buddhism, 14 Purvas. 14 Purvas they wrote in Jain scripts, they wrote in the local languages. Same like that we said 12 Angas. 12 Angas were also written in the Ardhamagadi. And 12 Upangas, they also composed 12 Upangas. 12 Angas, 12 Upangas. 12 Upangas were associated with each and every Upanga. Anga. Each and every Anga they have 12 Upangas. Next to 10 Prakiranas. 10 Prakiranas. These were the doctrinal matters of Jainism. Doctrinal matters of Jainism, they are completely in the verse form, not in the poetic form, they are in the verse form. And 6 Cheda Sutras, 6 Cheda Sutras, they also wrote 6 Cheda Sutras. These were the rules of monks to follow, rules of the monks to follow. Along with this, there were other religious texts. Other books were composed during the time of different dynasties or different people, like 4 Moola Sutras. 4 Moola Sutras. These 4 Moola Sutras are the valuable rules in the form of maxims, dialogues and parables. Maxims, dialogues and parables. 4 Moola Sutras. After this, Niryukis. These were also Jain texts, commentaries on the Angas. These were the commentaries on Angas, Jain Angas. They prepared in around 100 AD. After this, Kalpa Sutra. Kalpa Sutra was written by Bhadrabahu. Who was head of the Digambara sect, and also he was a teacher of Chandragupta Maurya. Bhadrabahu wrote Kalpa Sutra. It speaks about history of Jainism. And Acharanga Sutras. Acharanga Sutras were also related to the Jainism. Oldest Jain text. These were containing monastic rules. Containing the monastic rules. And Hemachandra wrote Parisista Parvan. Hemachandra, Jain monk and Jain writer Hemachandra, he wrote to Parisista Parvan. Parishishta Parvan. Along with this, Vattakeru Kartikeya. This Vattakeru Kartikeya, he wrote Yati Vrushabha. This was the first Jain book in Prakrit. Yati Vrushabha was the first Jain book in Prakrit. That was the first Jain book in Prakrit. Along with this Tamil literature, some Jain books also were written in the Tamil literature, like Tiruttakka Devara wrote Tiruttakka Devara, he wrote Jivaka Chintamani. It was Tamil book related to the Jainism. Tiruttakka Devara. Next, Tirukural. This book also related to Tirukural. This book also related to the Jainism. It was written by Tiruvalluvar wrote Tirukural. Nayanasena, another book. Nayanasena, he wrote. Nayanasena wrote Dharmamruta. He wrote Dharmamruta book. Nayanasena wrote Dharmamruta book. Harisena, he wrote Bruhat Katha Kosam was written by Harisena. Ponna, in Kannada literature, Ponna wrote Santi Parva. These are the Jain literary works written in different languages, and Jains also, they made contribution, more and more contribution for the development of literature in different languages. Along with this, Jainism also contributed in the development of art and architecture. Jain art and architecture influenced by the Indian architecture. Especially Jain monks, Jain architectural styles we can found in different places like Mount Abu, the main important Jain architecture. And Karnataka, Shravanabelgola. In the Shravanabelgola, we can find the nude Bhadrabahu or Bahubali statue. This is monolithic structure. So monolithic structures, we are following monolithic structures from the Jain art and architecture. Jain Chaityas and also Jain Viharas. Viharas are the rest houses which were constructed for the purpose of the Jain monks. So all these are the Jain architecture which was contributed, and also Jainism followed different architectural styles. This is about contribution of Jainism in India. So we discussed the spread of Jainism, contribution of the Jainism. This is about Jainism completed with the 2 videos. We have 2 classes for the Jainism, and Jainism is most important chapter. No question paper will come without Jainism. Okay, good luck.